Devotion for Thursday, April the 21st. Before I start the devotion, I want to remind you that beginning May 1, I will be going on sabbatical. I'll be away May, June, and July. So I'm doing today's devotion, then I'll be doing next Tuesdays and Thursdays, Lord willing. During the months of May, June, and July, we will not be having daily devotions. Matt plans to do probably 2 devotions per week. And hopefully when I return, we will get back to having them on a daily basis. I also want to remind you today to be praying for Jonah and Jennifer Lehman. Jonah is one of the sons of Sean and Corey Lehman. He's in the military, lives in New Mexico, and he and Jennifer got married recently, and we continue to pray for them, want to lift them up to the Lord today. Luke 24, every one of the Gospels talks about the resurrection. Luke tells us something in more depth than the others tell us with this story, and it's certainly one of my favorite. Following the resurrection, we see this story where 2 of them are walking on the road to Emmaus after the resurrection. Now, they don't know the resurrection's occurred. They've heard from the women that they went to the grave and that they were told that Jesus had risen from the dead. But they're walking down the road, and Jesus comes up behind them, and they do not realize who he is. And he asks them, "What kind of conversation is this that you have with one another as you walk and are sad?" And then one of them said, "Are you the only stranger in Jerusalem?" This thing about the crucifixion of Jesus didn't happen off in some little corner that nobody knew about. "Are you the only stranger in Jerusalem? And have you not known the things which have happened in these days?" And Jesus said, "What things?" And they talked to him about Jesus of Nazareth. They said, "A prophet, mighty in deed and word before God and all people. And now the chief priest and the rulers delivered him to be condemned. They crucified him." But I love verse 21. "But we were hoping. We were hoping that it was he who was going to redeem Israel." And indeed, besides all that, it's the 3rd day, and they talked about what the women had said. I can relate to that. I think most of us can relate to that. We were hoping. Hope is part of everyday life. It may be the simple fact that I hope it doesn't rain tomorrow because of something I want to do, or you can think of all the things that you use hope with. And some, if they don't come about, doesn't really have significance. Others can have great significance. But here they said, we were hoping that he was the one that was going to redeem Israel. I mentioned this briefly in Tuesday's devotion. What if what they would have hoped for would have taken place? Thank God it didn't. Oh, he did redeem Israel, the people who place faith in him. But he came to redeem all mankind. They saw him again, as I mentioned on Tuesday's devotion, basically is going to be this political leader. But praise God, Jesus, well, indeed, he is a political leader. He's the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. And he came to this purpose, to this earth, not to pick up swords and weapons and fight, but he came to lay down his life that we may win victory through that. And so what they had hoped for, something so much better took place. And I love the way it goes on, how as they walked along and Jesus talked to them, "O foolish one, slow of heart, to believe in all the prophets had spoken, ought not Christ to have suffered these things and enter his glory?" And I tell you, I would have loved to have heard this sermon. "And beginning at Moses and all the prophets, he expounded to them in all the scriptures the things concerning himself." Oh, What a message. What richness that would have been to have heard that. Obviously, he's speaking about Old Testament scriptures that tell about himself. And we know that he goes on now, they invite him in, and as he breaks bread, they recognize who it is and said, oh, how our hearts burned within us as he talked with us on the road. Today, I have hopes and you have hopes. And sometimes our hopes do not turn out the way we want them to. You know, we may not recognize it this side of eternity, but some of those things we hope for, someday I think we're going to understand. Thank God he did not give us what we hoped for because he had something so much better in store. Hey, he is the God of hope, the God of all hope, the God of peace, and the God of comfort. Let's rest our hope fully upon Christ. They had lost hope because it didn't happen the way they expected it. Sometimes it doesn't happen the way we expect it, but God is with us and God is in it, and God's plan is going to be carried out. God bless you.